coming. Now, there's a myth that God is going to remove his people from the earth before the time of tribulation. But it's not what we as Adventists understand. We as Adventists believe that we go through the time of trouble, but then he delivers us, and then he comes to save us, the second coming. So in Revelation chapter 1, 7, verse 1, 2, 3, 4, it talks about the four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the winds so that the winds do not blow upon the earth, the sea, and the trees. Now, by the way, when we talk about the wind, we're talking about tribulation, chaos, turmoil in the earth. You can see that in Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 36. The angels are actually holding back the troubles, the winds, turmoil, so that it will not be let loose upon the earth. So slowly they are going to let loose. But see the order of how it happens. Verse 2, and I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the four angels with whom it was given to earth, the earth, and the sea. So those angels have the capability of earthing the earth and the sea. Now, remember, God's angels do not earth it, but they only put a stumbling block, put a stop to those troubles coming upon the earth. But once they let loose, that is when total chaos reigns upon the earth, or we go into the time of tribulation. So those angels are still holding those winds, those crises, to whom it was given to earth, the earth, and the sea. Verse 3, it says, saying, earth, not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their forehead. So this trouble will not come fully in its completeness until God's saints are sealed on their forehead. What is the number of the people who will be sealed? They are called 144,000. So you see, slowly as God wind up his work, now one thing that we notice is that God has to seal his people before the crisis. The sealed people are actually called the 144,000. Now, those angels holding the four winds cannot let it loose. It will slowly be let loose. We will see some distress among nations, chaos. We have seen World War One, World War Two, Cold War, and different war, spirit of war, rumors of wars we hear. But this is not, it has not reached its climax as yet. Soon we'll see even greater things to come. Now, so Revelation chapter 14, verse 3 and 4 actually gives more details of the 144,000. You can see from 1 all the way to 5, it's their description, what kind of people they are. But in verse 3, it says, and no man could learn the song. This is the song of the 144,000. Song, but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. Now, if you learn anything about the 144,000, they are people living right at the end of the age. So it's saying redeemed from the earth. Before God totally destroys the earth, he redeems them. Verse 4, it says, these were redeemed from amongst men. These are men living upon the face of the earth at the very end of time. This is redeem is when Jesus actually comes to deliver them, takes them home. So these are called the first fruit unto the Lamb. What do we learn here? The 144,000 are the people who pass through the times of tribulation, and then together God leads them through and protects them, and finally he redeems them. Now, let's go back to Revelation chapter 7, verse 14. Now, you can look at Revelation 7, verse 1 all the way down to verse 7, jump down to verse 12, 13, and 14 specifically is the description of the 144,000. Revelation chapter 14, verse 1 to 5 as well. But we'll see Revelation chapter 7, verse 14. It says, and I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. This in verse 13 was asked a question. Who are these people? Talking about the 144,000. And John answers and says, Sir, thou knowest. And he said unto me, these are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Who are they? These are the 144,000. What is their experience? They have came out of great tribulation. Were they delivered from it? before the Great Tribulation? No, they passed through it, and then they came out of it victorious. Went through it, came out of it victorious. They washed the blood in the robe of the washed the blood in the blood of the Lamb, robes white in the blood of the Lamb. Now, the point that we want to establish here is at the very end of time, we are supposed to pass through a time that is so difficult. The Bible calls it the great pass through great tribulation. And great tribulation is something that is never experienced. We're going to see Daniel chapter 12, verse 1, but if you see from it, I'm going to just mention it says, Michael, when he stands up the close of probation, there shall come a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to the same time. Friends, what does that mean? You think World War II was bad? You think the persecution of the Jews by the Nazi was terrible? You think that even the shedding of the destruction of Jerusalem, and you can read chapter 1 of Great Controversy, how it was described that blood was running through the streets of Jerusalem. It was a terrible scene, but then Great Controversy says there is just a shadow or foretaste of a greater thing that is to come. Can you imagine that? You think those are worst, but we are heading for a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation. Even to the same time, any other period of this world's history, you know what you need? You need faith. We talk about the faith of Daniel, Joseph, all these biblical heroes, Bible heroes that stood for the faith, we say. But you know, you're going to need a faith greater than the faith of Jacob, the faith of Abraham, the faith of Daniel, Joseph, whoever, any other. Because why? Because they have never passed through any event greater than what you're going to go through. What they're going to go through is a little, just the tip of the iceberg, just a foreshadow of greater thing which is to come, worse than what people have ever passed through. We're going to need greater faith, friends. Can you try and wrap your mind around that? Undescribable, friends. Unimaginable. Now, look at what Ellen White says about this time. Great Controversy, page 622, paragraph 4, it says, the time of trouble such as never was is soon to open upon us, and we shall need an experience which we do not now possess, and which many are too indolent to obtain. Friends, what do you need? A faith or experience which we do not now possess. You think the best preacher is prepared? I'm telling you, even the best preacher is not prepared for what is to come. Even the best Adventist that you know of is not prepared for what is to come. If God leaves him alone to survive, struggle on his own, he will surely fail. You know what we need? We need to know how to go through the time of trouble. But that time of trouble will be a reflection, or how we go through will be a reflection of how we are spending time with God now. An experience which we do not now possess, in which many are too indolent to obtain it. It is often the case, now listen to the crisis before us. It is often the case that the trouble is greater in anticipation than in reality, but this is not true for the crisis before us. The most vivid representation cannot reach the magnitude of this ordeal. In that time of trial, every soul must stand for himself before God. Friends, this is very true. Sometimes we explain crisis, or sometimes we say, man, this was a very terrible experience, and when someone talks about it, you want to go through it, but after you pass through it, you say, it wasn't so difficult. It wasn't so hard as I thought. In most cases, we say that, but you know, the crisis before us, it says, no man can pen it down. The most vivid explanation or description will not reach the magnitude of the ordeal. Can you imagine that? I mean, I'm saying that, but it's unimaginable. It's unthinkable what will happen during that time. Only when we go through it, we'll see what it really is. And only when we go through it, we'll receive the faith necessary to endure it. Friends, Testimonies for the Church, Volume 8, page 315 says, "A storm is coming, relentless in its fury. Are you prepared to meet it?" Relentless in its fury. We're going to go through a time of tribulation and crisis before we arrive on the shores of heaven, before Jesus appears in the clouds of heaven. During that time, how are we going to survive? How are we going to go through it? If you want to see the whole video, please click here. Or if you want to see another video similar to that, click here. And do not forget to subscribe and click the notification bell to stay updated.